I just hit 300 subscribers on YouTube, so to celebrate, I'm going to be answering some of your questions. First question, would using a threaded steel rod or threaded eye bolts be a good idea for whip handles? Yeah, you can use them. I suggest putting a layer of tape or leather, something to cover up the threads, because over time the threads can eventually wear down all of the leather or paracords or whatever you have in the internals. Next up, best way to make nylon falls. Get your paracord around 4 feet in length, so then when it gets doubled over, it'll be 2 feet long. Get some scissors. Watch carefully here. Cut that down about like that. I may need to go a little smaller, depending on whatever your lacing needle is. I got this one, I can't remember where, but it was off of Amazon, and I saw it from Nick's Whip Shop. Then you take a lighter and you just burn those edges about like that. Careful, that can get really hot. Get your lacing needle on there, find the middle, then you'll want to stab through this paracord. It can take a couple tries, and if you're not careful, you'll either poke through it or you can have the lacing needle slip and then stab you in the hand. Not fun. Now that it's in there like this, you just push the lacing needle into the rest of the paracord, and this one's a little harder. Some paracords can be easier than others. There you go. And then you just do this all the way through. You just push forward and then push it back, push forward, push back. And then in no time, you'll have a fall. Now we can just finally see the lacing needle. We'll pull it on through. Then you take the lacing needle off, you will have a nylon fall. Very easy to do. How long have you been making whips? I've been making whips for 3 years now, since 2020, but I have been cracking whips all of my life, starting with this 6-foot 4-plat cowhide bullwhip that I've had since I was 5. In 2020, I decided it was time to retire this whip, as I had blown out the end. So, being naive, I went on Amazon and got this whip. This whip is what started me on my whip making career. Now, I've talked about this whip a lot, so even though it's a terrible whip, it holds a special place in my heart because of where it's gotten me today. So I figured, with a little bit of research, I could probably make a whip that is way better than this. And look where it led me. What has been the biggest obstacle to overcome in your whip making career? My first biggest obstacle is information. It is so hard to find good whip making advice, especially on the internet. But I'm more talking about leather whip making. It is so hard to find leather whip making advice. But nylon is not as hard to find good whip making advice. Nick's Whip Shop is what got me started on my basics, and then I built off of that. There was almost zero information on how to build a high quality leather bullwhip, especially kangaroo hide. And I think those who do know how to make high-end leather bullwhips, they don't put the information out so that they can protect their business. But there have been a couple leather whip makers that have helped me out. And they helped me because of the kindness of their heart and for the love of the craft. And that's how you're going to keep this craft alive. So to answer that question in a nutshell, information. Next up, top 3 favorite bullwhip moments from film, indie or others. First one is when Indy disarms the guy with the gun in the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. From Temple of Doom, it's when he uses it to swing down and retrieve the Sankara stones. From The Last Crusade, it's when he uses it to save his dad from being squished by the tank. There's a little bit of movie magic involved with that one, but it's still a really cool scene. Last one, favorite length of whip to work with and why? An 8-foot whip is always going to be one of my favorites because it's not as slow as a 10-foot whip and it's not as quick as a 6-foot whip. Well, that's all of them. Thank you to those who asked the questions. I had fun answering them. And thank you to all of those who are subscribed. I hope you enjoyed this video.